Many believe in an ongoing, everlasting war that transpires between the realm of the living and the realm of the spirits. Whilst the spirits of this otherworldly plane are capable of manifesting in our physical reality, we remain bound and mostly unaware of their supposed existence until they make themselves known. Indeed, it is believed that not all spirits intend to do us harm, yet the more prevalent of these creatures certainly seem to be the type to intrude on our lives, one way or another. You might say that we as mere humans are criminally ill-equipped to deal with such encounters, which is why when these occurrences do happen, we are left gasping, shaken, or considerably perplexed as to what has transpired. These spirits, if you will, can even be demonic in nature, and for those of a less religious inclination, these beings may very well be inescapable. Not even one's dreams are safe from such creatures, for it is in the still and vulnerable state of sleep does one demon, the Mare, choose to strike. Aeons ago, the Mare demon, mostly believed to be a female creature, was believed to steal horses in the thick of the night, and would ride the animals with such fervour and intensity that the horses would be too exhausted to move the next morning. Trees were also believed to be ridden by these creatures in the nocturnal hours, where it was commonly believed that this was the reason why the branches of trees might become entangled. Of all the things that the Mare demon decided to commandeer, however, it was man which would most certainly be the most unsettling. According to some early medieval beliefs, the Mare demon would sit itself atop a sleeping man's stomach or chest, and would proceed to cause mischief by either triggering the man to experience nightmares, or by tangling his hair, resulting in the man having mare locks or mare tangles. Later mythology, evolving out of Slavic legend however, saw the Mare demon take on a far darker nature, where its behaviour became far more violent and sexual. No longer was the demon concerned with horses and trees, but rather set its sights exclusively upon man, where it would prey on him for his blood. Many scholars trace the word mare back to the Proto-Indo-European root word mer, which was linked to the action of crushing, pressing, and oppressing, arguably the same sort of words one might use to associate to the Mare demon, which naturally crushed, pressed, or oppressed its victim. Others, however, trace the word back to the Old English mare, which spawned multiple variations including mare and mere. Two ideas persist in reference to the demon, that it was either spawned from the word nightmare, suggesting the demon caused nightmares, from which it obtained its name Mare, or that this demon hijacked and exhausted female horses, mares, from where it also gained such a notorious name. If we turn to the Nordic countries, we find that the creature also existed here too, under the name Mare, effectively encompassing the same characteristics and motives as the mare, where she rides her victim, effectively causing nightmares. This supernatural attack is known by various names. In Denmark it is the Maret, in Norway it is the Marit, whilst in Sweden it is known as the Marit, which effectively all sound the same and all essentially translate to mare riding, which can see the victim experience feelings of anxiety, suffocation, and heartburn. Furthermore, humans are not the only target for these attacks, but animals too, including domesticated pets, who might be spooked or act unsettled in the middle of the night, courtesy of the haunting of a Mare demon. Interestingly, it is from the Scandinavian countries that we find one of the earliest accounts of the Mare demon in the 13th century saga of Yngling, by Icelandic poet and historian Snorri Sturluson. The saga details how the goddess Freya founded the Swedish dynasty at Uppsala, before proceeding to detail a long line of kings all the way up to the Norwegian ancestors of King Harald Fairhair, The king that interests us the most in this saga is King Vanlandi, who we are told was murdered by a particularly vicious mare demon. As the saga has it, Vanlandi's wife Driffa grew tiresome of her husband's gallivanting, and so in order to lure him back home to her bed, she hired a Finnish sorceress named Hulda to work her magic. If Vanlandi could not be lured back, however, Driffa gave Hulda permission to murder him. Evidently, Vanlandi could not be lured back by Hulda's magic, because we are told that one night, when Vanlandi went to sleep, he woke up screaming that a mare demon had ridden him. When his men attempted to seize the demon trod on his legs with such a force that it broke them. When Vanlandi's men rushed to grab the demon a second time, the demon leapt onto Vanlandi's head and crushed him. Interestingly, the mare demon doesn't appear to have a consistent form within each region's mythology. For example, in the Eyrbyggja saga, another 13th century text that details the local politics and local feuds of the Icelandic people, a sorceress by the name of Gerid is accused of becoming a night rider and causing grievous bruises upon another resident by trampling him. Whilst never specified in the text itself, later scholars agree that this night rider, this Marlivender as it's known in the text, can be equated with the mare or the Mare, and that this was yet another characteristic of the creature that sorceresses and or witches were believed to transform themselves into these demons and enact their dastardly assaults. The mare demons rear their heads around in various Germanic mythology, where, like the Scandinavian tradition, they also appear as Mare. Here it is believed that the mare, or the Mare, will ride the sleeping victim so as to cause discomfort and breathing difficulties. It is also known to pin their victim by either lying on the victim's stomach or chest, in order to cause a crushing sensation. In a more gross tradition, the mare demon might sweat over the victim, drenching her pinned prey. According to some experiences, those afflicted are unable to move or even call out for help, similar to sleep paralysis. Here they can only lie at the mercy of the mare and wait for her to leave, or hope that someone calls them by their baptismal name, which will break the spell and allow the victim to wake. In other traditions, the mare demon can appear as the Mor, effectively a variation of the mare demon that can be either male or female. In this version, the Mor is able to infiltrate the victim's household by squeezing through a hole in the wall that hasn't been filled. In order to stave off future attacks, the hole can be plugged, which effectively denies the demon from future entry. In one folk tale, a woman was believed to have been tormented by a Mor demon, and was only stopped after a hole in her wall had been plugged. In another variation of this tale, the Mor had afflicted the woman for such a long period of time that it actually started a relationship with her, going as far as to become the father of her children. After the hole was filled, however, it was banished from the household and could only return to visit its half-demon children once a year. In another tradition, the Mor, like the mare demon, is believed to be fond of horses and will ride and disturb them during the nocturnal hours. Unlike the Scandinavian sagas, the Germanic regions were believed to take actual steps to prevent the mare demon from returning. In one account, a man who is being haunted might choose to offer the mare demon breakfast. For some reason, this causes the mare demon to cease to visit, perhaps viewing such a seemingly hospitable gesture as a slight, and a declaration that they have failed to aggravate their victim as they intended. Another superstition suggests that leaving an upside-down pair of slippers by the bed is enough to ward off the mare from entering one's personal space. According to German folklorist Adalbert Kuhn, there existed the following Germanic prayer that could be said before bed to ward off mares. Here I am, lying down to sleep. No nightmare shall plague me, until they have swum through all the waters that flow upon the earth, and counted all stars that appear in the firmament. Thus help me God, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Amen. It isn't until we start looking into Slavic mythology do we find that the Mare demon becomes something far more sinister, capable of not just causing discomfort by applying its weight, but also of draining the victim's blood, similar to the antics of a vampire. In Poland, the Mare is also known as the Mare, but it can be more commonly found under the more insidious Zamora. In this belief, the Zamora has a varied set of characteristics. In one tradition, the Zamora is not necessarily demonic, but rather a woman scorned by a lover, who then gains the ability to turn into a Zamora and haunt him at night. The Polish tradition allows for certain physical descriptions not given to us in the Scandinavian or Germanic accounts, such as possessing a unibrow or different coloured eyes. Whilst there are conflicting ideas as to how someone becomes a Zamora, it can be generally agreed that those who do possess this power obtain this ability from the devil. This sees them venturing into the night by means of supernatural power, and strangling or sucking the blood of men as they sleep. According to some superstition, this sees the Zamora mount the chest of the slumbering man, before biting his tongue and sucking out enough blood to leave him withered and emaciated. It's interesting then that whilst the Mare demons appear to be spiritual beings that coexist alongside humanity, the Zamora are humanity, or at least scorned and jaded members of humanity who have willingly become supernatural beings that torment others at night. Another entity closely associated with the Zamora is the Striga, believed to be a regular human woman who prowls in the night similar to a vampire. In Croatian mythology, meanwhile, the Mora or the Mara can be interpreted as an ancient spirit found in Slavic mythology, a dark entity that takes the form of a beautiful woman to haunt men in their dreams. Some superstitions, including those from Serbian mythology, indicate that the Mora can enter the room through the keyhole of the door, and once there, she will sit atop the chest of the sleeper and proceed to strangle him. According to Serbian anthropologist Vuk Karadzic, children were advised to make the sign of the cross in an effort to resist the attack of a Mora. In the early 19th century, he also made mention of widespread efforts to repel the Mora by reciting elaborate prayers before bed, not unlike the prayers told to us in Germanic tradition. Evidently, the phenomenon of the Mare demon knows no borders, for it was frequently experienced by many peoples in different regions across Europe. With such widespread symptoms of being crushed, choked, or disturbed from one's sleep, it's easy to see how such an idea of a demon being responsible was bruited throughout Europe. Whilst today we might associate such symptoms with some kind of sleep paralysis, there are those today who still believe in the potency of the Mare demon, whose bone-crunching, blood-sucking tendencies are only a night's sleep away from becoming a reality. As always guys, if you've enjoyed today's episode, then don't forget to leave this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time.